Hey guys, this is Sydney from Simply Diverse, and I'm going to do something a little bit different for this week's web show. Um, we're going to talk about grief. Um, my sister kind of gave me the idea, like she's awesome. But anyways, so on Saturday, it's been 11 years since I lost my grandpa, so this video is in remembrance of him. So first I'm going to go over the stages of grief. And if you're not familiar with them, you'll become familiar with them now. And if you are grieving, it will seem very familiar to you. And keep in mind that you can go through these stages in any order. There's no set order that you go through them. Everybody grieves differently. The first step is denial and or stage, sorry, is denial and isolation. Denial and isolation. It's when it doesn't feel real to you and you kind of isolate yourself from everybody. I can tell you that I think I go back to this stage every once in a while. It's not that I don't want to hang out with anybody or talk to anybody. It's just I can't. I can't. I don't know. I just can't find anything to talk about. And if, you are friends with somebody who's going through this, try to be understanding because it's really out of their control and it's part of the grieving process. And you need to let your friend or loved one go through it. The second stage is anger. And it can be the anger can be directed at anybody. It can be directed at God. It can be directed at somebody random, at the person who passed away. It can be at the doctors. It can be at anybody. And even though it's a very intense emotion and nobody wants to be angry, it's really important that you feel this, otherwise you're never going to get closure with losing your loved one. And like I said, I find myself going back to anger. I'll be on to one of the other stages and then I'll get back to being angry, and it's part of the healing process. If you don't get angry, then you're not gonna have acceptance, and you need to go through it. The next stage is bargaining, which for me, when I was looking at the stages, I wasn't sure what bargaining was. And it's kind of okay, with my grandpa, for example, what if he would have had a different doctor? What if you know things were different? Or with my grandma, what if I would have moved in with her 6 months sooner, even a month sooner? It's your bargaining, and what you have to keep in mind is this is also a step of the healing of the grieving process, but you have to go through it. But you also need to keep in mind that you can't change anything, and it's not your fault. I feel guilt all the time, especially with my brother who committed suicide. My cousin and I were trying to get in touch with him 6 months before, and I wish we would have tried harder. But I can't, if I sit there and dwell on the fact that I didn't get in contact with him successfully, it's gonna eat at me every single day, and you can't let it do that to you. And then the fourth stage is depression, which, like I said, I feel like I go through all the stages and go back, and I think that's normal. Depression is kind of self-explanatory, where you just get really sad. On Saturday, my sister and I were both just depressed, and it was just a crappy day. We can't even put our finger on it of why it was such a crappy day, but it was. And you're gonna have those days, and I think, if depending on how close you were with them, you'll have those days for the rest of your life. It's normal. And of course, the fifth stage is acceptance, closure. What it's important to realize is that um, because you're accepting it and you have closure, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to miss them. Um, you are allowed to miss your loved ones until the day that you die. It There's no like time limit on grief because in my opinion, when you grieve for the rest of your life. And that's just how it is. And people who think that there's a time limit, they have never lost anybody super close to them. Like, um, I didn't understand like the grieving steps until I think my brother committed suicide. I was 11 when my grandpa passed away, and I know I was grieving, but it's like I blacked out those years out of my memory almost because like it was so traumatic for me because I was so close with my grandpa. And you know, and then with my grandma, like I actually did research on grief because I felt like I was going to explode from all my emotions. So, having closure, it's just like I have closure with my grandpa and I accept it. And yeah, I miss him like crazy every single day, but I've adapted to my life without him. Okay, now I'm going to go over like what you should not say. If you have a friend who just lost somebody important to them, it can be really hard to know what to say. And in my personal opinion, I think sometimes like the best thing you can do is say nothing. Because, you know, for me, sometimes if I would just be sitting there and crying, like I would rather have somebody listen to me than say fake words, like not meaning it. Is for me, the people who just sat there and they listened to me or said nothing or gave me a hug, those are the people who were truly there for me. Um, and some things you can say is, I'm so sorry for your loss. Be sure not to ever say that he or she is in a better place. They came here and did what they needed to do. It was their time to go. They brought it upon themselves. Um, aren't you over it yet? It's been a while now. You need to stop dwelling on it. Um, it's God's will. I'm That kind of stuff is like really hurtful for a person who is grieving. And I've had a few people like either directly say it to my face, mostly behind my back because I'm not gonna lie, I'll punch somebody in the face if they say anything like that to me. Um, and clearly, like, the people who say stuff like that, they have never lost anybody close to them. Like, it's just ridiculous. And if you think it's okay to say stuff like that, well, then you, I don't understand, like, your thought process. But, um, just make sure that you're there. Like, sometimes, at least for me, I just want somebody to listen to me because sometimes what I have to say can sound like complete nonsense to people. Um, so, and now I want to touch a little bit just suicide. In 2010, my brother committed suicide. Suicide is like very serious, and if you ever feel like you really want to commit suicide, you need to reach out to somebody because I wish my brother would have reached out to me or to somebody because we would have cared. Like, um, it wasn't expected. He went to work and he went about his daily routine and then he just jumped off the Forest Hill Bridge. Like, there wasn't any of this, like, I'm going to threaten to commit suicide. I really, 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 like, cannot stand it when people make threats like that towards me. Be like saying that they're going to commit suicide when I know that they aren't going to and that they don't mean it because the last thing I want to do is I don't want to lose anybody close to me. I know it's inevitable, but like suicide, it's basically you're taking away your pain and you're giving it to all the people that you love. Do you really want to do that? I didn't think so. Um, so, you know, there's like resources where you can like reach out and to people. And if you really feel like that, which like if you struggle with depression or something like that, um, you know, it's understandable. And just a little bit about, you know, why grief is so important to me, I guess. When I was 11, my grandpa passed away, and it was like we knew because he had liver issues. Um, but it really shaped like who I am because he was like the closest thing to a dad that I ever had. And losing him at a young age really, I don't know, really got to me, and I was really depressed for a long time. And you know, I had a lot of rough times, but I'm very grateful for all of them because they made me a more humble person. Kitty. Um, and then in 2010, like not that like it was right before my 18th birthday. Um, my brother, I got a call and I got a voicemail that my brother committed suicide. And it sucks because I was trying to get in touch with him. We lost contact because of, you know, family dynamics, like, but, you know, um, it sucks when, you know, people can't get along. But I did go to his funeral, even though it was awkward because everybody, you know, hated me. I don't really care. But it definitely, like, opened up my eyes that it can end at any time. And then right after my 21st birthday, my grandma unexpectedly went to the hospital and she passed away a week later. And along with that, I basically lost my whole family because none of them talked to me, deleted me on Facebook. They just talk to me if they want drama. All the people I trusted my whole life pretty much just shit on me. Excuse my French. But I feel like, yeah, I feel like maybe I have complicated grief, which I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but I know you're supposed to go see like a therapist or something. I think maybe my grief is a little bit complicated. It's complicated enough when you lose somebody that's close to you, but like when you lose your whole family too, except for like three people. I mean, I'm a twin, and my twin doesn't even talk to me ever. So I feel like, you know, I lost him too. Anyways, I wasn't trying to make this depressing. I just wanted to um, basically explain the stages of grief because I didn't know what they were. And my sister told me that that she watches like some people on YouTube who just like talk to themselves about feelings and stuff like that. So I decided to talk about grief. And anyways, um, so in the comments and whatnot, what is grief to you? Has it affected your life? How do you feel about suicide? What's your story? I want to know. And let's just keep in mind that we all need to be nice to each other in the comments because everybody grieves differently. How do you feel about the stages of grief? Like, how do you, like I said, I go back and forth from different ones. Like, what order do you think you do them? Um, anyways, thank you for watching my video. And I'll see you guys next Monday. Have a good week.